And things have changed at Shares Eccles. Right now, things are looking a bit bigger and the scenery is different. Oh yes, we also have a few of my famous pumpkin pies. Noisy, isn't it? What I've done is I've actually moved to Trinity. So the whole building has been rebuilt, enlarged, carpeted. So this is the ground floor where you can sit down, have a nice meal, gaze out over the landscape when it loads. And I'm right on top of Zephyr's build here. So I've got much smaller gardens now, but still quite functional. These are the animal pits, where we keep all the animals. The nether portal, which has been redone in all obsidian and has some nice banners on it now. I'm going to have to make some to show civic pride. These are his horsies. Hello horsies. This is mine. Hello mine. And these are my chickens. I'll just take that, thank you. So it'll keep me in Kentucky Fried and pumpkin pies for a while. The jungle is away over here somewhere. And every so often I can go and collect some wild eggs. I've still got to get Optifine working on this build. I'm not quite sure why it isn't working. It seems to be installed properly. And looking at the logs, there's no complaints or anything. I just hope that I don't end up finding myself with the four horsemen grinning at me on the bridge like last time. Just in case. And yes, I did label my sword a picture of Queen Victoria. You are not hallucinating. Do not adjust your set. I'm guessing Zephyr is going to put in stairways on the ends. So we've got these lovely watchtowers. There's our blacksmith in there. If you give him coal, he will enjoy you with emeralds. And I think the other way around too. So yeah, chunks are being slow to load as usual. These three lighthouses, this is why it's called Trinity. There are 3 bridges here. And I'm also advertised my new improved bed and breakfast as a means of attracting attention. Now we go over here, we have we can see the L. Yes, that's right, the elevated railway that takes you all the way to spawn. And it also heads off in that direction quite a distance. Depending on what I can get away with, I might think about breaking into it and creating a stop for Trinity. No reason, it just seems like the logical thing to do. And of course it starts to rain, doesn't it? So anyway, I busy myself for a week or two back by starting work on building this bit, layering this bit of this unfinished bridge in cobble and stuff. I'm going to hang fire on it until I know what it is that Zephyr wants. As usual, it's a typical thing. Our schedules just don't match up. So he's got a lot of work to do on this end, as you can see. So it comes to this great desert. Good grief, there's a lot of abandoned boats here. Ow. And I don't like wet skeleton horses. Wet skeleton horses to me mean the inevitable appearance of the 4 bloody horsemen. I don't like the 4 horsemen. Actually, while we're here, might as well go visit. Take a look at the top of a lighthouse. And there's the top of a lighthouse. Hello, lighthouse. We're fools. Actually, that reminds me. If I go back down, you can tell he's been building us. Now, which way is out? There it is. So that one just goes back there. It's just about finished. Now, there's something wrong with one of the plugins here, where if you don't type anything often, or you're just walking around, it declares you're away from keyboard. Now, I'm not sure that lighthouse is lit yet. The lighthouse is lit. Yep, so there's the railway. I might do a quick clip later on for this episode of me riding a rail. As long as I don't hear the almighty crash of doom which says, oh, by the way, say hello to the 4 horsemen for me, will you? They're right over there. How do you get into this one? I don't know. Do I have any dirt on me? No. I might have to do the unthinkable. I mean, there's no reason why I can't. Hello? What's going on here? I'm sure I like this game. Mermaid Cove. There's a queer one. Alright. So I'm wondering if there is a way up there. There probably is, I just have to get some dirt. But for now I'll repair the damage. Ooh, I never knew that. Then again, there are lots of things I don't know. For example, I don't know about aardvarks. Yeah, I don't think that, I don't think that one's going. Better fix that. But in any case, as you're heading south towards the Videra jungle and the Wild Inquest, if you're going to do the Wild Inquest, or if you're passing through on your way to do something other than the Wild Inquest, here it is, the Brown Paper Parcel Inn. Isn't it lovely? It's the same kind of building that I created in the jungle there, which is now up for grabs for anybody who wants it. Built in underground gardens, own mine workings, convenient access by underriver walkway to... Oh, that's not there. Where is it? There's my dirt. I need my dirt. Here's my dirt. And I'm not sure, I might need a lump of netherite, I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. But as you can see, it's got an attic, it's got 6 bedrooms, it's got a honeymoon suite. I haven't quite finished all the instructions for would-be patrons. I'm taking a bit of a leaf out of one of Alexis Sale's books, Great Bus Journeys of the World, if I remember correctly. There's another Wally there. Yes, it's getting pretty dark. So I'm not going to try and climb up that, I've got no idea what to do. So I'm just going to do the usual thing of carefully climbing round. That reminds me also, I'm a little grumpy at the moment. I'm always grumpy when I have to work on a Saturday. I like the idea of... Oh, crikey. Okay. Oh, no wonder it's not going. Okay. wonder it ain't going. It's not finished yet. I didn't realise that. It has actually been bothering me for some time. Okay. Better not stay here too long. This is, I'm going to be honest, horseman weather. Anyway, there's one way to fill in a day in the half-built realm of Trinity. Didn't there used to be somebody's house there? Oh well, we'll find out. Anyway, I was going back to the old days not too long ago. So let's talk about that. Well, I finally got the graphics extended going, a decent resolution, and I'm starting it again. The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. I remember being fascinated by this in computer shops, back when we had lots of computer shops. I remember getting obsessed with it in Key Computers in Wellington and another place in Porirua. I was thinking the most amazing thing ever. Mind you, also liked System Shock 2 then. I hear the original is getting remastered, but System Shock 2 will always have a special place in my liver. When you think about it, the Elder Scrolls 3 gets to the point. It doesn't have lots and lots of fancy graphical effects. The AI is very minimalist. There's no pretending to plow. There's no getting up and sitting down, no falling asleep. Everybody just either wanders around aimlessly in a fixed radius, or they stand in one place, waiting for you. The world is all focused around you and doesn't try to hide it, not like Oblivion or Skyrim. Yes, I remember picking this up originally on 2 CD-ROMs. Back then, games could fit on CD-ROMs, unless of course you were Myst 2 Riven or Myst 3 Exile, or one of the later sequels, where you had to do a lot of CD-ROM swapping. Then of course along came DVDs, and nowadays we have the internets for us to download directly to our hard drives. If we've got the bandwidth, of course. Remember this guy? I do. One of the funnier things, that's one of the aspects of it, without gigabytes of expensive voice acting to suck up the budget, everything came down to writing. You did a lot of reading. I guess the Munchkins didn't like that, of course. They wanted to get on and defeat the big bad as quickly as possible. So I very tahiel decently and get myself some nice clobber. Except for the shoes, of course, because in the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, Argonians and Khajiit, the tailed folk, were digitigrade. They couldn't wear shoes. Too bad if you had the boots of blinding speed. On second thoughts, it might not be such a bad thing. But I remember all the fun of roaming around Seyda Neen, learning the ins and outs, exploring all the little places that smugglers kept their goodies, getting attacked by rocks that turned out to be mud crabs. Oh, I love the mud crab. The mud crab in Morrowind actually looked like something you would expect from a fantastical environment. None of this, they're just ordinary giant crabs. Crabs, but we call them mud crabs because they roam around in the mud. So what? And no calling giant rats skeevers either. Cough cough, Skyrim. Okay, maybe it's a local bit of patois. But it sounds like something dreamed up by some Inuit, if you know what I'm talking about. Swit. Yes, that was it. Test 3 was more about the gameplay and giving you a good time without being patronizing. For example, there's that classic dialogue box when you finally get out of the Customs and Excise office come tutorial level. You're on your own now. Good luck. It's up to you whether you deliver that package right away or whether you roam around and get yourself some experience first. It's up to you whether you walk first east, then north past Pelagiad, or north then east up the Odai River. It's up to you whether you decide you're going to be a real bad bastard or a real good bastard. It's all up to you. Entirely. As long as you realise that in order to buy anything off shopkeepers, you talk to them directly. You don't just... It's not like real life where you pick up items and then bring them to the counter. You try that here, and I did. You immediately get attacked and quit the game without understanding what you did. Speaking of getting attacked, everything boiled down to numbers in this game. That's actually been pointed out in other retrospectives on Morrowind. Your weapons don't cut any bones about the fact that they do a random range of damage. They say so right there. It's all down to your various attributes. Oh, those attributes going up to 100. No specials here. I guess they hadn't dreamed that up yet, or they'd siloed it off to Fallout at first. Also, perception isn't that much use, I suppose. It all comes down really to willpower. And of course, the numbers determine how often you miss. For some reason I keep missing with that short bow, so in this case I'm going with the more effective longsword of Electric Doom. Tasered and punctured. And of course, the bandits all have, well, all the ones I've ever met in the game, have unique names. It makes you wonder why they chose this life of crime, as opposed to the generic bandits you find in Skyrim and Oblivion, especially Oblivion. Because Skyrim took a leaf out of Morrowind's book. Dead bandits don't regenerate, which is a good thing. Of course, I'd expect that with undead, which just seem to pop out of the woodwork. That makes sense, but living, breathing, flesh and blood opponents coming back? No, thank you. Actually, there probably is a mod for Oblivion, or maybe I should make one, in which all the bandits are given unique names and possibly unique backstories. Maybe that could be something to do in Oblivion again, instead of my usual, instead of what I did previously, which was the Major School quest by itself. Actually, it's something I should do, and something I've been meaning to do for ages. Go back to Oblivion and play as Lucius Carus, Clerk to the Empire. Go free, good man. That was something else. You could be more flexible in how you interacted with characters in Morrowind, because everything was done through text. You weren't hamstrung by endless lines of spoken dialogue. They aren't necessary. Not necessary for the story, and as long as you can read, you're fine. But of course the Munchkins don't care about that. They don't want to read, they want to run away and hit things and bash things, and maybe I'm being an old crotchety codger at this point in time. Well, I probably am too. Too bad. Bad. I mean, Oblivion and Skyrim are fun in an action-oriented, heavily shaded sort of way, but after a while it does start to drag. Or at least you start feeling that the game just has this membrane of technical sophistication that is getting in the way of immersion. It's a bit like, I suppose, you're a mosquito that's trying to pupate, but in order to do so it has to pull itself through the surface tension of the water before it can take flight. And I haven't managed to do that yet. Not the best of metaphors, I'll have to admit, but it's something that we'll just have to put up with. At some stage I'll add some mods of mine. Things like, say, Lilac, the idiot talking magical sword that can turn into a companion to do your fighting for you. I'll find the necessities of Morrowind, which adds the need for food and drink to the game, making it just a bit more complicated and realistic. And if I remember what they were called, there were some unique dialogue mods that made various characters, such as the poor fisherfolk of Seyda Neen, and go away, nasty rat. Thank you. Far more interesting people to talk to. Can't remember exactly what it was called. And I'm not entirely sure, but there's mods out there, of course, for Vivek's Fate, which underline pretty starkly exactly what happens after you win the game. Of course, you know about this if you played Oblivion or Skyrim. It's part of the canon lore there. So I thought, I'll give myself a nice ring to wear. Isn't that lovely? Before I go exploring. But I might keep Morrowind on the back burner. It's not going to be like I was intending to do with Skyrim, in which waits in corners takes up 10 minutes of your precious time. I might just do selected, do Shift F12 for selected highlights or lowlights, depending on what, if anything interesting, she's doing. But in any case, I think I'll leave her and Adam Sartis working out what to do next. Now, I've been doing a walkthrough, well, a playthrough of Infra, and call it simply Infra, a playthrough. And during the game, you keep finding bottles of and advertising for Osmo Olut. This has started to play strangely on me, and so I started asking myself the question, if Osmo Olut were real, what would it taste like? What would it be like to drink? The result? So, it would have to be about, I don't know, 12% ABV, so it would need to be something like this. This is Eccles. It's a super strong beer. It's from... well, it doesn't actually say. I'll just take a look at the label here. Although I can't tell, because the Beer Force in Auckland have slapped their label on top of it. But it's pretty frightening, this stuff, because this says 4.8 standard drinks. A bottle of Tui, 330ml, at 4% ABV is one standard drink for New Zealand. What I've got here is the equivalent of nearly half a dozen Tuis. Here goes. This is the strongest beer I've drunk in over 20 years. And it's probably, at 12% ABV, probably about what Osmo Olut would be. So let's find out. There we go. It's open. Probably shouldn't fill it this far. I might not finish it. Always got it getting a sickly Swedish whiff. So let's take a look at it. It's a very light. It's a very light gold in colour. it's a lager, obviously. It's probably been brewed en masse. So let's have a bit of sniff. Ugh. It's Swedish, and they're kind of keep away Swedish. They're kind of hold your nose, close your eyes, love potion number 9. Nose, so here you go. Ugh. It's a bit like cough medicine, but not as thick. It's like thin cough medicine. It's medicinal. It's a sort of square with rounded edges, and the taste. It's something you could drink. I mean, you have to. I mean, to me, if you're going to make a really, really super strong beer, you're going to need really, really super strong flavoring, either from the malts or more likely from the hops, to try and cut the phlegm. This thing is, as I say, Swedish, and it's a little too syrupy to be a nice beer. I mean, okay, I'm used to, I'm from New Zealand. I'm used to Pilsners, I'm used to IPAs, I'm used to lagers. In my student years, I used to drink Tui by the jug, often up anywhere between 3 and 4 jugs in a single afternoon. How the hell I learned anything that lectures after that, I've got absolutely no idea. Let's try, let's see what happens in round 2. Oof. I can't tell if it's winey. I mean, it's a bit like, I get the sensation of almost like red wine, maybe even a hint of brandy. I'm not sure. It's I don't think Eccles is a beer, and I don't think Osmo Olut would be a beer either. It's more like a liquor. What the Americans call, quite accurately I think, malt liquor. So, you know what you want? You know what you want. What you want is something like a Tuatara Pilsner, or perhaps a Garage Project beer, or a Death from Above, or something out of the Kiru brewery in the Hut, or the Panhead for that matter. But you don't want Osmo Olut.